It all started in a living room with notes all over the walls, a brainstorming session, preparing for the Dalai Lama's visit to Seattle, the Seeds of Compassion Conference in 2008, focused on compassion. And I was tasked to do something with youth. Now, during that brainstorming session, all of the notes with the ideas from the 20 people sitting around the table came back to the same theme: K through 12 education, early learning, youth, children, and how do we create a better world for the future. I gathered 50 youth from diverse backgrounds, and that's when the Youth Ambassador Program was born. We celebrated our 10th anniversary in 2018 in India with the opportunity and the honor to report back to His Holiness the Dalai Lama on what we have accomplished over these past 10 years. I was able to travel to India with Habib and Olivia, two of the very first Youth Ambassador students who are still engaged, still committed to be agents of compassion. So what is Youth Ambassadors? It's a civic engagement program with heart. Why is it different than other civic engagement programs? Because we never forget about our interconnectedness and sharing our common humanity. I'm going to give you an example. In the beginning of the year, social studies teacher sits down with the students and they decide and vote which issue are they the most passionate about and will they focus on for the year. Often the same topics come up, but the students are the ones who decide. This year, the students decided on homelessness. This is a middle school program. We have 7th and 8th graders. Let me tell you about Jamal. Jamal was a wonderful student, very quiet, very interested, very engaged, but quiet. So what do we do about homelessness? Well, we research the issue locally, statewide, nationwide, globally. Then, as a culminating project, we look into legislation. And then we prepare and we ask students who would like to testify and support legislation that they feel passionate about in the state capitol. Jamal surprisingly raised his hand and said, yes, I want to testify. I want to be supportive of more funding for homeless students in schools. So we prepared. There were 4 students in total, and we prepared for weeks. When the time came to go to Olympia, this was the first time for many of those students they ever left the Seattle city bounds. And off we went, and the 4 students, along with 20 other students, went to Olympia, to the state capitol, and 4 of those students, including Jamal, were going to testify to support this legislation. When Jamal had his turn, he started shaking, and I immediately thought, oh boy, he's so nervous. But actually, what came next was astonishing. Instead of testifying with what he practiced for many weeks, he started to tell his own personal story. Jamal started to tell and express how he was so passionate about this legislation because he was homeless when he was in elementary school. He was with his mom. They had nowhere to go. They often had not much to eat. They had to sleep in a car, and he wanted to make sure that there was no other students who would ever have to live through something like that again. Subsequently, the legislation passed. Jamal was invited to sign the bill with the governor, and he was named Washingtonian of the Day. Well, that experience has led Jamal to want to focus on social services and make sure that he continues to be an advocate with heart. So, what is Youth Ambassadors? It opens the door. It opens the door to young people to be able to civically engage with their heart, with compassion and kindness. Imagine that. A little more kindness in the world goes a long way. And now we have compiled innovative curriculum for teachers to use throughout the country, throughout the world, that will allow students to engage and be civically active for a lifetime. Thank you so much. I am excited about the new generation that will lead with heart.